Well, good morning, actually no, good morning, it's good afternoon, it's 4 o'clock and on the news today, Brexit still hasn't happened yet, but we're camping again and we've got this helicopter flying right towards us. It's like a military exercise here. And as you can tell, I still haven't fixed the focus issue. Anyway, that's I think it's a Merlin. I think it's a Merlin helicopter, but maybe someone can correct me on that. Okay, well we've reached our camp spot. And this is a camp spot that sort of, that's Linz Tor. And then over there somewhere is Niset's Nose, and then Great Niset is over. Great Niset's either over that way or it's that hill there. I'm not quite sure about my map. And then obviously Little Niset's beyond with Fair Tor. As I've shown you before from here, if you zoom in from this angle onto Linz Tor, it looks exactly like, well in my opinion anyway, it looks exactly like one of those Egyptian Sphinx things. Oh, and while I think of it, I didn't pass any bridges with any billy goat gruffs near it, but for my grumpy friend Terry, because he'll probably be watching this just to make some grumpy comment again. We started over there, we walked along kind of that way and then down here. So I haven't got a piece of paper or a pen, but very usefully, and certainly not to scale, but I can draw you a diagram of the route. So the car is parked approximately at that clump of grass there. Dinga Tor is approximately this clump of grass here, and then we kind of walked in a southerly direction to this clump of grass here, and when we reached that clump of grass we turned right, because it's left here, but right to this clump of grass here, and that clump of grass is here where we are here. So there you go, there's a little map for you. I'll try and remember to no, I'll probably forget. I'll try and remember to do a Grumpy Buggers map for tomorrow as well. As I said, this is the camp for tonight. Now I've brought the Trailstar. Now I've not used the Trailstar since I think it's probably about April or May last year. So I haven't pitched the Trailstar in quite a long time, so it's probably going to be a little bit of fun pitching this bugger this time. Alright, let's get to it. Okay, well we'll start by pegging out the general shape. Okay, well I've put the inner in, well not the inner, but the ground sheet in, so I can show you. I just popped over to the stream and got water, so I've got water there. That's the ground sheet inside. I'd kind of forgotten how much room there is in the Trailstar, to be honest, because it's been quite a long time since I'd been in it. But it's also a bit more cramped than I remember. I think I'm used to the Super Mid a lot. So yeah, I think I'll be back to the Supermid again, you know, for much of the winter here, unless the forecast is, you know, very, very windy. I really like the Trailstar more for, you know, if the weather's going to be like really, really rough. And then you can pitch it low, and yes, it might be a little bit on the more cramped side inside, but you know that you're pretty much a limpet to the ground, and there's very little sticking up, if you pardon the pun, as the actress said to the bishop. There's very little sticking up that you know, can catch the wind, and I think that's why I like the, you know, the Supermid so much for normal winter camping, because there's so much headroom in there. But with this, there's definitely less headroom, but you know, you do have a heck of a lot of floor space. And like I said, you know, if you were camping somewhere and you didn't know the conditions, then this really is kind of like your go-to tent. This is kind of like really nice to have in the armory for when, you know, for when needed. So I think what I'm going to do is 5 to 6. Sunset is around about now, give or take a few minutes. So I say it's just coming up to 6. Sunset is about now. So I kind of think that now is a good time to get inside and start unpacking everything. So I'm just going to have a 2-second call of nature outside before I go inside, and then any other calls of nature will be performed inside. Okay, getting into this is a little trickier even than the tarps, to be honest. So you kind of got to sort of squidge under a bit. So once you're in, you kind of don't really want to be getting out quite so often. What I've done, I've put Lass's bed down there. I also have with me on this trip this foam pad. I'm not sure that Lass is going to need it. I don't think it's quite that cold, but if I see that she's starting to cool off, then I can just unravel this. I just think it's a good idea to put it in now, is get into the habit of carrying it. So like I said, I don't think she's going to need it. I don't think it's going to be so cold for her, but I'd rather be, you know, prepared, as it were, and be a good boy scout. So let's see what we've got inside the bag. So first thing is my sunglasses, which I hardly think I'm going to need. Go and settle down over there, Lassie. And then this bag here really is basically sort of hats and gloves and balaclavas and things like that, which I may need later on. Again, it's not really that cold. That's for waste and rubbish. It's really not that cold, but I just want to get in the habit of starting to carry winter things. This pouch here has my weather station, extra cord, a long peg in emergency, and extra spare torch in there. So I don't really need that, it's just an emergency pouch. Because I'm carrying this camera, because I'm carrying the camera on the pouch, on the hip pocket now. Lass is licking my foot. Because I'm carrying the camera on the hip belt thing now, I've had to take this pouch off. So in here I've just got, in fact some of this stuff can now come out. I've got sort of insect repellent, 2 insect repellents, sun cream, hand sanitizer, which I need, and toothpaste is in there. So actually the things in there, that can be thinned out now. I brought my eyesight glasses just to try and get in the habit of carrying them around, but I Don't really wear them that often. Then I brought some Lodemere cheese to have with my crackers. Waterproof coat. It's not quite cold enough for Paramo yet, I don't think, so I've just put a waterproof coat in. Waterproof trousers, because the plan is 2 nights again, 2 bottles of fuel and my cup. I couldn't find my usual bread, so I brought these bread things. They're a bit heavy. You know, if you're doing a long hike you wouldn't carry them, but just for, you know, 2 nights they're fine. Right, I can't sit in some positions, my hips start to hurt a bit. Right, then we got, because we're here for 2 nights, again I've almost certainly brought a hell of a lot more food than's really needed for 2 nights. I always pack far too much food, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. So food, probably enough there for 3 nights. I don't think I'll be doing 3 nights anytime soon. I haven't got time for that. My electronics in there, so that I'll keep handy because that's batteries and power packs and things. My pillow, which I like to have, it's my luxury item, well, one of my luxury items. I'm not sure what was in this bag. I think in here is my, oh no, in here is waterproof socks. So in all honesty, I probably, yeah, so in there was my waterproof socks and my down jacket. I probably won't wear the waterproof socks today. Maybe in the morning if I'm walking around camp, because obviously I wore my trail shoes. It's very wet and boggy, so my feet and socks are wet. So if I'm just walking around camp, in camp, I might just put the waterproof socks on just to keep my feet dry, and then when I actually start walking I'll take them off. I was almost tempted to bring boots of some sort, but again I thought, well, it's just not that cold. Some chocolate things. I must try and cut back on some of my eating. I think I'm eating a bit too much at the moment. I brought my kilt. That's handy if the weather changes and I need like an emergency door. Then, because it's not a tent and you don't have a door, that's kind of handy. Right. I was in my friend's shop, Dave, the Gorge Outdoors in Cheddar, the other day. I had to pay for these too, cheeky bugger. Anyway, I noticed he had these new meals in. They're boil in the bag meals. I tend to avoid these because I like my pastas. They're a hell of a lot cheaper, like a 50p a pound, couple of pounds, you know, a night effectively. These are, you know, nearly £7 each, which I think is, you know, is a lot of money. But anyway, I'd never seen them before, so in the interests of experiments and YouTube videos and things like that, I thought it was worth just trying them, just to give my opinion on them compared to other meals. One is beef stew with pearl barley, although the pearl barley accounts for 6%, and the other one is orzo pasta bolognese, and that actually is beef in this one. So we'll try these at some point later on, and I'll try and remember to do a video on them as I'm eating them, or at least before I've done. Anyway, we'll think of something. Not quite so easy when it gets darker, but we'll figure something out. But these are fire pot, real food to fuel adventure. So like I said, we'll see what they're like. One for today, one for tomorrow. My head torch. And then this bag here is effectively all of my night things in there. So there's a hat in there, gloves, a t-shirt, leggings, light socks, sleeping bag. So everything for the night is in that one bag. I've switched over to the winter blow up mat now, the Thermarest X-Therm. So I'll blow that up in a minute. Because it's still not that cold, even though I brought Lassie a thick piece of foam, I'm still going to carry on my thin piece of foam, you know, when necessary. But once it starts to get really cold, I'll switch this to slightly thicker foam. So, you know, I have more protection in an emergency, etc, etc. And of course my tablet for watching films, first aid in there, and repair kit in there, and then my cooking pot in there. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is everything that Santa Claus has in there. And that's it. So we'll just take out that water bottle there, and then I'll start blowing up the airbed and sorting things out for goodie boys. Hello. Let's see. Okay, well, good morning. It is still morning, just. It's 10 past 11, and to be honest, I've not been up very long or awake very long. I think I put my head down about 10:30 last night after watching Law-Abiding Citizen, which was quite good. I had seen it, but not for a very long time. And then I downloaded the first 2 episodes of The Walking Dead on Amazon Prime, so I watched those back to back last night, and that took it to about 10:30, 10:30, something like that. And at that point I was thinking, shall I watch another film, or shall I close my eyes? And my eyes were pretty heavy. So I thought, no, let's close my eyes and try and get some sleep. So I put my head down, and I think I slept from about 10:30 last night until about 10:30 this morning. Somehow I think I needed that sleep. I woke up a couple of times for a pee, but other than that, I slept very, very well last night. So hope I can sleep as well tonight would be a bit of a bonus. But yeah, very nice. Now, like I said, it's just gone 11. I haven't quite decided what I'm going to do. I'm definitely moving. I'm going to have to move the tarp anyway, or the Trailstar anyway, because the wind last night was from the north, and as the forecast said, it's changed and it's coming from the south. So if there was any rain or anything like that, it could get blown in now. I don't think rain is forecast over the next couple of days. There's no signal down here. I'm cut off completely from the internet. Even if I stand up and do this, there's nothing down here. So I can't check the weather, but from what I remember, it was dry, and that's it. So I'm either going to head that way to Little Niset, my other sort of favourite place for camping, which is not very far from here, or, which is my most likely option, to be honest, or I'll head over to West Mill or East Mill Tor and camp back up there, and then that's just closer to the car. But I'm not in any rush to get back necessarily, so, and it doesn't get dark until later, so I'll probably go further south to Little Niset and head back that way from tomorrow. It would be about 8 or 9 kilometres to the car from there. That's fine. I've got stacks of time to do that, so that's probably what I'm going to do. So as long as I can try and get leaving from here in the next couple of hours. Okay, well, it's 12:15. So we're doing a combination of eating and packing at the same time, kind of. We've had breakfast. Now we're in the process of Lassie, go back. Of putting things away. I put a bread roll out just to eat just before we go, and Lassie decided to just have a look at it. She didn't she didn't go to eat it. Mind you, if I hadn't have been looking, she might have eaten it. So quite literally, there's legs 11. So I just got my trousers to put on here, the power pack to go in there, my tablet to go in there, another meal for tonight which I've just got to put away, and wear this hat today because it's a bit sunny, although the sun's gone in a bit now. My GPS watch, which I don't really need, to be honest, but I like to keep in the habit of wearing it. Some food, and then just food items there. I've packed most things in. It still looks a bit like a pigsty, to be honest, but we are slowly getting it tidier in here. It's mostly just tea stuff and food things there. We'll head to Little Niset. I looked on the map, it's only like 2.5 kilometres from here. Maximum 3 if you've got to do a bit of a dog leg to get there, but it's really not far. It should be there in like an hour or something like that, or less, depending on the terrain really. And then it's just back to the car. I just had this sort of strange feeling ever since I was walking yesterday. Did I lock the car? But I always do lock the car, and I always look round and check that I've locked the car, so I'm sure I did look around and check I'd locked the car. But ever since yesterday, like I said, I just had this feeling that I didn't lock the car, but I'm sure I did anyway. We'll keep going. I'm not heading back to go and check on it. Okay, well, we haven't left camp yet. We're in the process of packing up. I've put everything inside the pack. And then it's just these last few little bits, and collapse the Trailstar down. I'm almost feeling too lazy to move at the moment. I should just get everything in and get walking, but it's nice just to relax for a minute. So like I said, what we're going to do, I know what we're going to do. Okay, so just for my friend Grumpy Terry, let's go and find some more grass, and then we can kind of try and draw him a grumpy picture as to how we get to our next spot. Well, it's kind of pretty much up through there and then a bit to the left, and then it's kind of straight really. So if you look at these, so let's say you look at these 3 bits of grass here, we're kind of here, then we're going to walk behind that bit of grass there down into a valley. We're going to pick up water between that bit of grass and that bit of grass, and then we're going to walk up the top of that bit of grass. It's kind of sort of a bit like that really, kind of like that, just like that, yeah, just like that. So I think for Terry that's covered my ass for describing and showing the next leg of the walk. Like I said, it is quite literally just around there. It's like 3 kilometers maximum. I wasn't quite sure where I was gonna cross on here. Camp is actually down in that valley there. My original plan was to walk on the other side of that hill. So when I showed those two funny bits of grass here, we've actually come the other side of them, not that side of them. So my like grassy diagram was already wrong. So when we came this side of that hill, one advantage of course of wearing shoes like this rather than boots is I was able to just walk straight across the stream. I was walking up and up and up and up, hoping I could find somewhere without having to get my feet wet. And I just kept walking and walking. Then I came to this bank here and I thought, well, if I need to go further, I'm going to have to go up over that bank. And I thought, well, I don't really want to be going up again if I can avoid it. So I found this little passageway across there. It was like 10% scary. It was pretty straightforward, really. So we've just got to work our way up here, and then Little Nisa should be the other side of this hill. It gave Lassie a chance to have a little paddle and a swim. So for my friend in Australia or New Zealand, patting Lassie for you. Okay, but we were camped down in that valley down there, not this one, but that valley down there, just down in there. And my plan was to walk that side of this hill here, not that big hill, but that hill there. I was going to walk in that valley in there, not this valley, but that valley. As it happened, I came around this hill, around here, around there, and then we're coming up here. I can't find any grass around here to describe that, so I've showed you. From here you can see Linstall. I think that's probably High Willhays there, and that's Dingertor there. So when we go back tomorrow, we'll come over this hill, but rather than coming down this way, I think this is Great Nisa. Yeah, I think this is Great Nisa. We're heading up. I'm not quite sure if we're going to go over the top of it or just bypass the top of it. When we come back, we'll come over Great Nisa, down, you know, kind of here, but just the other side a bit. And then there's that, you can just see, if we can find it of course, and it's never actually easy to find paths when you're on the ground necessarily, but there's a track there that goes up to Dingertor. Like I say, sometimes it's easy to find tracks where they can actually kind of like disappear when you're down close and you can't see them around you unless you're very close to them, accidentally get to them, or just, you know, see them and then just, you know, and then you do find it. Okay, well, this is the top of Great Nisa. I was going to go over to Little Nisa, and well, I kind of found a couple of spaces around here. They're pretty good, maybe not absolutely perfect, and I think if it was really, really wet, I think it might be too wet up here, but it's not bad. I did, and then I was also thinking, well, if I go to Little Nisa, I've got to walk back the same way, kind of, to get back, you know, to the car in that direction. So, and as I said, if it had been rough and nowhere to camp here, I would have carried on. But as soon as I saw a couple of spots here, I thought, well, hang on a minute, let's maybe just stop here. It's still only just gone, you know, like literally 2 o'clock. But it's kind of like, you know, why walk a load more when you don't really have to? So water was a little bit of a concern though, because obviously I didn't bring any with me up here. But there are lots of pools. So as long as I can keep Lassie preferably out of this one here, which might be easier said than done. But I took water from this pool here. It's relatively deep, and I was able to get Lassie, come away from there. And I was able to get you know, 3/4 of a bag full, you know, my water thing full. Obviously, because this is standing water, I still think even this water is okay. In all honesty, I still think even this water would be okay. I've sniffed it, it certainly smells okay. I will just make sure I bring this water to a boil though. I've got water in 2 water bottles which will cover me for drinking. But this water I will just bring, you know, I will make it very hot, let's put it that way, just to be on the safe side, in case an animal's peed in it or something. But again, I don't really think a horse is going to come along, oh look at that pool over there, I'm going to pee in there, because Tony's going to be drinking from it. So I'm not too worried about it. I'll just, you know, like I said, I'll just boil it a bit more than I sometimes do. Usually I just get it, like, you know, hot enough to drink. I think in this instance I'll maybe just get it so it's boiling a bit. I got plenty of fuel, so that's fine. Like I said, you know, it's kind of like just a spur of the moment thought process, you know, really. I was just feeling a bit lazy and I thought, oh, I can't be bothered to do a load more walking. So I'm going to get the Trailstar up in a minute, because it looks like the sun was out this morning, but it looks like the clouds are building now and the rain is on the way. So let's get this Trailstar up. Okay, well thankfully that little shower has passed. Whilst it was raining, I did quickly start to get the Trailstar up, chucked everything inside. Obviously it's far from pitch, but you know, I kind of got this set up in that rain, you know, within, you know, a minute or two. So it just goes to show that, you know, you can be relatively quick getting the initial setup. And my thoughts were, if it stayed raining and it's not windy, so nothing was going to get blown or caught or anything, I probably would have just ducked underneath it as it is, waited out the rain for a little while, and then when the rain went, I'd have then just come out and carried on, you know, pitching. As it happened, the rain stopped anyway. I've checked the forecast because there's a bit of a signal up here, but not much of a signal, but a bit. So the wind seems to vary between the south, between the southeast and the southwest, depending on the time. I think at the moment it was like southwest. Well, it was one of them anyway, I don't know. But it's going to be coming from the south, so luckily I've pitched the Trailstar in the right direction, which is the opposite direction to how I had it pitched down there. Where I was camping before, right, that's Linstour, so right in the middle, slap bang in the middle, I was down in that valley down there. So in the end it was like less than 2 kilometers up here, but that's fine. Like I said, you know, I'm just interested in just sort of coming out, chilling out, relaxing and having fun. That's what this is all about. So I'll grab a couple of pictures, and I always forget to put pictures on Instagram. I don't know why. I put them on Facebook. Oh, if any watch friends are out there watching this, I've set up my own watch group. It's very innovatively named, very cleverly named, very ingenious. It's Tony's Watch Group. So, you know, if you're into watches, then just check that out. And you can join. Check out. It's for. I was getting into a bit of stick from some other, well, one other group for having a bit of a pop at flippers. People who buy these expensive watches and then sell them 2 minutes later. So I thought I set up my own group, and then that way I can do what the hell I can do the hell what I want on it within reason. And it's like for just people who want to keep the bloody things, not sell them after 2 minutes. So if you're thinking of selling watches, then maybe check out Rolex Collector's World or something like that, you know. Other groups are set up for selling. Mine is set up for, you know, showing watches. Anyway, that's only if you're interested in watches. We're going to keep it a small group, small friendly group. Trolls keep out, sellers keep out. Pretty much everyone piss off. But it's my group, so I'm the boss. Right, oh God. There's one slight snag with camping here, and this is Ponderama for Lassie. Actually, I've been here a while. I need to take that pack off her as well. Anyway, I just hope she keeps out of one of those pools over there, because that's the one I want to use. That's the one I ideally want to use for drinking from. What I try to do now is I try to put this centre pole on the ground, sort of in the line of where I will actually want it to be when I'm putting the Trailstar up. So it gives me a rough idea as to where I'll be sleeping. So I sort of kind of found this nice little flat area here that looked quite pleasant. Alright, so that's the final count. I don't want to start singing. So that's the final pitch. So I've actually, unless the pole drops inside, which can happen with these, which is one slight snag, I might look to getting new gripper things to go inside the pole. But I've pitched it about 2 centimeters higher than last night on the 10 and 9 mark on the carbon pacer pole. What I've done, there's no real wind and it's not cold, so even though I've pitched it higher, I've kind of still got the back fairly close to the ground, not as close as last night, but there's so much grass around here that I'm kind of sort of thinking the grass is going to act as a little bit of a barrier. I don't know whether that's right or not, but anyway, that was kind of my, kind of my thinking here. Also, I'll be sleeping on this side, so handily more grass is over there than there is there. That side where Lassie is doesn't matter quite so much. So I'm kind of thinking I'm protected here, mostly there, very well enough. Obviously my side, because I'm over this side and I need some protection, I can get Lassie away from the edge if I have to, so Lassie's fine, of course, so don't worry about her in case there's anyone saying, oh, the dog. And then this side I've just pitched down closer to the ground than last night. It probably didn't need to be that close, but I just thought I'd just try it out of curiosity really. And then that one there, I've raised up a bit, and then just to make getting in and out, and as this side is is downwind of the wind as it were, I've just pitched this side on a long line, and then that's kind of made this door side for access to be potentially a little easier to get in and out than last night. So that's my pitch of the Trailstar. The only, as far as I can really see, the only downside of the Trailstar in Cuben is, and it's just a, you know, you can't quite get these bits here really tight, so they can, in the wind, they can flap, you know, a bit, and can be a bit annoying. If they flap a lot, they make a very annoying sound. But you know, it's not really that much of a problem, and you can usually put earplugs in. And let's face it, if it's howling a gale of wind and rain, it's not, you know, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, to be honest. I think I still have the Seal Nylon Trailstar. I don't think I sold it. I think I've still got it. But yeah, I just love using this one so much when I do use it. Like I said, I think I'll go back to the Super Mid and things like that for general use like this because of the extra space in it. But it has certainly been really nice getting this out. And as I say, if I was going in terrain and walks that I didn't know, and the weather I didn't know, and things like that, you know, this would definitely be the weapon that I would, the weapon of choice. I've not blown the mat up yet. I'll blow the mat up, you know, later on. That doesn't take long. I've just laid the sleeping bag out, sort of a bit half inside out, half opened right the way up, just to let some air get to it. Probably not needed now, but maybe a good practice, you know, to get into. My rucksack I've just sort of chucked back there at the moment. I'll probably put it right at the very back, and then that also acts as a little windbreak as well. So you can often use bits that you've got to act as a windbreak, you know, as well as you know, the actual shelter and terrain around you. It's quite nice now. It's quite nice out now. It's, like I said, it's only 3 o'clock. It doesn't get dark until 6. So it's quite nice. Now I can just relax for upwards of 3 hours before it gets dark and cools off, and then I'll duck inside. And I can drink tea and eat a sandwich out here or some bread out here. Well, it's time is 4:30. I'm rooted to the spot. Basically, I took my shoes off, waterproof socks on, dry, warmish feet. The only thing is I'm limited to this small piece of foam. If I want to move around, I just put my shoes on, of course. But since sitting here, I have eaten crackers and cheese. Crackers and cheese have been eaten. I should get away from Brexit, but I've been listening to old Boris. Oh, come on, Boris, get it done, for God's sake. And eating chocolate and drinking tea. And so far, I've not keeled over from taking water from that pool just over there. The only thing is I have boiled it. I'm just desperately trying to keep Lassie away from my specific water hole. So I'm letting her pretty much go in any other one, which is pretty much all she's done since she's been here. So yeah, so this is a nice spot. I do think that if it rained a lot, this probably would get quite wet here. I'm not sure that you could camp here if it was super wet. It's certainly okay now, but I'm downhill of these pools here, so yeah, it could be that, you know, you might get damp down here if you had a lot of bad weather. I think there was a couple of spots further up there that you might be able to pitch on. There's a few bits around here, but it's also quite wet as well, so I think we just got lucky with this spot. As I say, I was just literally walking along here and I looked over at Little Nisa. I thought, oh god, I've got to walk all that way to walk all the way back again tomorrow. And then it was just lucky. I looked around here, saw a few flat places and thought, right, that's it, I'm stopping here. And just lucky these pools of water were around. If these water pools hadn't been here, then I would have had no choice but to carry on. I'll give you a little panoramic sweep, as it were, around here, because we're quite high up here. I'm not quite sure the height here offhand, but you've got Fir Tor over in the sun, Cut Hill over there. I believe you can camp on top of Fir Tor as well, but again, the trouble with tops of hills, you need to carry your water up, which really is a bit of a pain, to be honest. I think that's why I like the valleys near streams. And you just got to pitch your tent, grab your water from like 30 seconds away, and Bob's your uncle, or Fanny's your Auntie Sally, or whatever. I just made that up. Oh, nobody watches these videos for common sense. I put my down jacket on because it was just cooling off, you know, just a tiny taddy bit. So I think probably in the next hour, maybe less, I'll duck inside in the warm. But it's nice just to chill out outside for a bit. Jesus, lassie. That dog's going to have to keep well away from my sleeping bag. Look at you, all waggy tail. Good girl. Waggy tail. Alright, that's close enough. Go back. Alright, that's more than close enough. Good girl. Go back, come on. Okay, well, it's that time to get inside the shelter now. The sun is just starting to set behind those hills over there, and it's just cooling off. It's just cooling off. I've put my warm hat on, I've got my down jacket all done up, and it's just starting to get a little bit nippy now, so I don't see any point. My hands are getting a bit cool. So, as I say, I don't see any point in staying out in the cold now. So, I've moved everything in. I've just got to blow up the bed, the air mat, just got to do that. And then put the sleeping bag on top of it. I've not been in here at all. So I've just got to set that up, put the rucksack at the back. Okay, well, watching Black Hawk Down and chilling out, relaxing. I like a good action or war film when I'm camping. Fast and Furious or John Wick or some action of some description or another. Just thinking how bloody lucky we are that most of us don't have to get into a war situation. Like I said, I'll briefly show you around camp. So we've got Lass's bed here, her mat in case it's needed, but I don't think it will be. In fact, last night she half slept on the grass. I've put my shoes there, I have half a chance of drying out. I've put my socks, which obviously were, you know, soaking wet, I put them under the mat so that might squeeze some of the moisture out. Soon it won't dry them, but it might squeeze some of the moisture out. And obviously if it did get freezing cold, which it isn't tonight, it would stop them freezing. Of course, that's one thing I must remember when it does get freezing, if we get any freezing weather down here this winter, is to cover my shoes up. Because I remember one camp a few years ago down here, it froze and my shoes froze, because obviously they got wet, so my shoes froze and they were absolutely frozen solid, and the next morning I could do nothing with them. And I was thinking, how the hell am I going to get my feet into these to, you know, to walk? Luckily I hadn't peed for a while, so I peed inside my own shoes. I know that sounds foul, but urine's actually a sterile liquid, so it's not I don't think it's quite as disgusting as it sounds. Anyway, that funnily enough did the trick and thawed them out enough that I could get my feet in them. But ever since that time, I've always, and it's been freezing cold, I've always covered my shoes up so they don't freeze. Anyway, in camp here, so I've put the rucksack at the very end. It's not needed like that, in all honesty, but it's as good a place as any. And if there was wind or anything like that, then it just gives a little extra protection. But as I said, it really isn't needed today. And then down here is, over there is my trousers from the day. My waterproof socks are over there for evening, or if I need them to get out quickly during the night. Down jacket, which I won't need now, I'm inside the sleeping bag unless I get cold. Kilt, in case the wind changes direction and I need a door and it rains. And somewhere down there is the inner to go inside the sleeping bag, which again would give, you know, a fraction more warmth if needed. Around here basically is just bits and bobs and food I've eaten, food I've yet to eat, and obviously cooking pot here, cup water which I took from that pool over there, and then down here my power pack that's currently charging, putting some power into the tablet, and my phone. And this one power pack seems actually to be plenty for what I'm doing these days. I always bring a second power pack, but I must admit at the moment that one seems to be plenty. There's definitely a little rain. I can hear it, so another good reason for getting inside the tap. So this is it, here we are inside the Trailstar again, and as I say, I've pitched it a fraction higher this time. It's on the 10 and pole mark. Well, I don't know if I said good morning or not earlier on, time went so quickly. Anyway, if I didn't say good morning now. It's just coming up to 12 o'clock funnily enough, so it's kind of more like good noon time. You kind of caught me. I'd nearly forgotten about you lot actually, but you kind of caught me. Nearly packed everything away for our pesky Billy Goat Gruff friend. We're kind of just going to go to the top of this, and then we're going to go down. Kind of go. That would be too rude. We're kind of going to go down and then sort of up that path if we can find it to Dingator, and then when I get and then when we get to Dingator, we'll kind of figure out exactly what we do from there. It's either just straight back to the car, or I'll go up High Wilhays, Yes Tor, and down that way. I kind of sort of judge it when I get there, really. I see how time is, how I feel, and everything else like that. Okay, well it's coming up to 2 o'clock, and we've nearly finished the walk. That's Yes Tor. I did come via Yes Tor, so we haven't got to it yet. We're heading in that direction, but like last time, I cut down I don't see the point in going to Yes Tour unless, you know, I have to. So we're just heading in, you know, in that direction, then down to the car sometime in the next half hour, I would hope. It's been a very enjoyable loopy walk. I think it's been a bit less loopy than last time. It's been a bit more straighty this time than last time, which was a bit more loopy. But it's been a very enjoyable, you know, 2-night out, and I will look forward to seeing you all again, you know, sometime in the month, as Peter Sellers would say, of November. So, you know, if you've got this far, thank you for watching. Watch again, subscribe, hit that notification button because I believe that's important, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.